You thought I'd be taller. Thank you so very much. Have you ever wondered why sometimes when we are happy, we laugh and we smile? Sometimes on occasions when we are angry, we get a bit grumpy and growly. What about when it comes time to tears? What about if we could express those? Have you ever pushed them down, suppressed them? As the lead crisis negotiator for New Zealand Police, I got a deep insight into people's emotions. I work with the most vulnerable. And I found out about managing the importance of managing our emotions. While I was a crisis negotiator, I myself became vulnerable and fell into the depths of depression and worked my way back out. And from that point of understanding what actually happens to the brain, I started to study it. Why was I different and broken? So I studied it, and that got me right here today to show that we're not broken, that we're not. It's just the way we all express emotions differently. Recently, I was going through some photographs, and I came across a photo of me, 6 years old. And I looked at the photo, and I went, there's something wrong with that photo. I'm holding a pencil in my right hand. I'm left-handed. And in that instant, I won't tell you where I was jammed in a cupboard. In that instant, I had a rush of emotion. I recall somebody stepping forward and pulling the pencil out of my left hand and putting it into my right, saying, we all hold the pencil with our right hand, without saying, for the photo. So immediately I thought I was going to have to learn to write again. I started to cry. Don't cry. This is your photo, I was told. So I pushed it down hard. I wanted to go home. I just wanted mum. How many of you have been in a situation where you have felt the need to cry, to share emotion, no matter what that emotion might be? Hands up. Who's been in that situation? Wow. Look at the hands. How did it feel? Did it hurt? Have I taken you back to that memory now? Right. Let's take you out of there so I can carry on. This is how you reset your brain. We're all going to do it together. A big sigh. So everybody take a big deep breath. Go. Sigh as hard as you can. Now try and think of something apart from food or what you love dearly. There ain't much there, is there? And now you're back in the room. How about that for a reset? So why is it that thank you. Why is it that some of us tend to suppress emotions? We never once did that. As a people, as a species, we used to openly share our emotions. Going back in time, looking at functional MRI, let's start with the science. Let's get the sciencey bit out the way. Here it comes. Functional MRI scanning show that when we suppress emotions, there's activation in our amygdala. And there's less activation in our prefrontal regions. The amygdala is responsible for threat detection. Is there danger around me? The prefrontal region regulates that, regulates both our emotional and cognitive function in our brain. Continual suppression of the emotions, studies have shown, leads us to a build-up of stress in our physiology. And our normally calming parasympathetic response dies away. And so our body and our brain start to change. Further studies have shown that if we continue to not be able to express emotions the way they are supposed to be expressed, it can lead us to anxiety and depression. Something needs to change, I think. I believe that we need to be able to be who we are. Now, going back 3,000 years ago, wrong Homer. The real Homer, 3,000 years ago, wrote about how warriors society openly cried. They shed tears. It is written that King David and his soldiers wept and wept and wept until they could weep no more. Vikings, known for their staunchness, their robustness, showed all of their emotions, including chronic. Medieval literature shows us that we all showed emotions. It is a necessary part of being human, of showing and sharing love, loss, and connection. It's our brilliant. So what happened? Well, come on to 300 BCE. Stoicism arrived in the world. Stoicism became interpreted as hiding our emotions, and that was never what it was meant to be. What Stoicism truly was about, now Marcus Aurelius, he was the famous Stoic. He wrote meditations about the importance of processing emotions, of the importance of empathy, and the importance of how we treat others matters. So true Stoicism is pause when something happens, question your thoughts, respond according to your values, and always remember to treat others the way they should be treated, right? To be caring of others. That is true Stoicism. But somehow it got interpreted as pushing it down. What it actually is don't let emotions control you. So that's the start of it. Then in history, we had the Victorian era of the stiff upper lip. Military ethos became one of emotional repression, emotional control, emotional restraint. World War I, always a brave face. World War II, important that for United Kingdom, Great Britain, keep calm, carry on. This is the start of the change, though. Stoicism, the interpretation then was reinforced, but not for all of us, because a lot depends on who you socialized with. Your cultures, many cultures, particularly indigenous cultures, openly share all of their emotions. They know they weren't influenced as much as some of the others of us. When we go to school, we learn social norms. We learn how to behave. And depending on the school we went to, the social norms are different. Depending on the group within the school, we learn. So we start from the time we're born to comply, to conform. Now, the reason for that is our brain is wired to look for danger. It's called a negativity bias, and it does so by two things. It looks to our past for a reference or anything out of the ordinary. And so as we're a species who likes to be connected, some of us conform to the norm of that group, and we all had different groups. So it clearly indicates now that no two people have the same response to any emotion. We are different. Bad. Stand by feet. Why is that important for today's modern world? Well, our world is changing so fast, we can't keep up with it. Organisations need to be able to adapt to our fast-paced, ever-changing world. But remember this, organisations are run by people. And people, when we're not at our best. Now, task analysis shows, linking to the previous speaker, task analysis shows that when we suppress emotions, when we suppress what we want to say, when we suppress things, there's a build-up in our brain. There's an emotional and cognitive load placed on that makes thinking more difficult, more tiring. It's a burden to try and control those emotions. Now, I'm not talking about everybody going around crying. I'm saying that we may be able to start expressing emotions the way you are as a person. Because organisations need to adapt, and we need to adapt fast. So we need diversity, we need equity, and we need inclusion. But how can we truly have DEI if we're not able to be ourselves? So the question I pose to you is, are we ready for it in our new world? Or are we still going to be locked in our past? Because we need to open up more things. We need to be ourselves. Studies have shown that when we're able to be ourselves, we become more creative. We become more caring. This is not woo-woo. Could you feel a room change then? We are emotional species. We're connected by our hearts, not our heads. The head controls it. Until we can be it ourselves, until we can be at our best, I'd like to take you through, if you don't mind, a small breathing technique that will show you how to get our parasympathetic back online whenever you feel like you've had to suppress. We tend to hide it, and that hurts. So I'm going to take you through a very quick breathing exercise, if that's all right. I'll just check my emails. I've got one. No, I've got a timer. Now, there's a particular timing for this. I do not want you to count. I want you to relax. You will do this with your eyes closed. The reason being, when we have our eyes open, our brain is active. So keep your eyes open, you've got to listen. Or is that just me? I do have a little bit of ADHD as well, which really helps in these situations. Right, so I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and start to breathe out, and I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, in. And you breathe in slowly and keep breathing until I say out, and you keep breathing out until I say in. There's a particular timing. Don't count. Just listen to that timing. Halfway through, I'll say, keep breathing to that timing, and you watch what happens. So here we go, sitting back, eyes closed, starting to breathe out. And in 3, 2, 1, in. Out. In. Out. In. Out. And out. In. Out. And keep breathing to that timing. How's that? Couldn't go to sleep. That was just 2 minutes. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Don't hold your breath when you do that. Slow it right down. Slowing the breathing slows the heart, slows the head. Until we're able, can you imagine a world where we could all be who we truly are? We would be able to say something professionally and respectfully, to be in a group of strangers and be us. That would mean if we all did that, out of the ordinary will no longer be out of the ordinary. It would be extraordinary. So my question to you, are you willing to make a small change to make a big difference for yourself and possibly for those around you? Thanks to all.